Hello everybody, G Styles streaming today. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on Star Citizen. This is actually 3.13, 3.14 is coming out soon, so a lot of the stuff may or may not change keybind wise. Actually, I know some of the keybinds have changed already, but wanted to give you a quick introduction with Star Citizen. So number one, persistent universe. When you launch the game, this is pretty much what they refer to as PU. This is where you fly to a planet, drop a gun somewhere in the bushes, die a few times, come back in that planet 2 months from now, and that gun will still be there under the bushes, but that's still in the works right now. It's not completely persistent yet. Star Marine, this is more FPS, still in the works. I wouldn't recommend playing that right now. Arena Commander, you can play versus AI, you can play versus other players, a lot of different things, but for now I'm going to give you guys some basics on the PU. So you can choose which location, server location you have. You can choose where you want to spawn in. Typically, starting off, you'll spawn in the Stanton systems. Disregard hangars right now. I wouldn't go into there, but sometimes you'll have the ability to choose where you spawn in as well, as far as a place. Right now, typically you'll go right into what's called Loreville, which is on the Hurston planet. So we'll load in here shortly. So it does take a little bit of time right off the bat to get in. Be patient. Now, if this is your first time playing the game, some of it's, I'm making this video to show some of our new players as well what to expect. Keep in mind you're loading an entire planet, so depending on your PC, even beefy PCs might start to lag right at the beginning, and that's okay. Remember, you're loading everything in. They're working on something called server meshing. People will toss that term around. And what server meshing is essentially different things will run on different servers and seamlessly work together. So for example, maybe you have all the AI on one server, you have all the physical buildings on another server, your player and your ships on a different server, and as you travel from different areas within the star map of the galaxy, you'll essentially easily, seamlessly, the servers mesh and work together, therefore creating kind of a less lag, supposedly. So they're working on that. There's people talking that might come at the end of the year. Some people are saying it might come towards the latter half of next year. So when you spawn in, this is probably the most frustrating part. It got me. I had to Google it. You're looking around, you're like, what the heck? You start mashing buttons. Secret button is hold F. That's one way. You can kind of look around and be like, oh, there's get up, right? You can do that. A couple ways to do that. For me, the easiest way, because a lot of I'm going to teach you guys, there's multiple ways to do different things, but hold Y and let go, and that'll typically get you up and out. If you start glitching, you lay back down, you might just want to restart your game or something. But again, when you get up, you might start to lag a little bit. You can look around. Holding F will allow you to kind of look around. T, turn on your flashlight, or your headlamp, I should say. Find the door that has a green axis open. Hold F, left click, should open. So you go in there. This is Loreville. You kind of see Tisa Spaceport. Don't know what that artifacts are in the distance, but hey, you're in Alpha, right? That's part of it. Glad to see that some of these NPCs are not standing on things. There's a couple glitches there, but your main goal is to find elevators, right? To get to anywhere, it's usually elevators. You'll spawn anywhere. Anytime you spawn in, you'll be in what's called the hab unit, habitation. So find the exit. Usually has signs that say exit, so find the elevator. In these elevators, you can hold F, so you can scroll wheel down. Notice there's ground floor. Now, scroll wheel also does zoom in as well and zoom out, but find ground floor. So that's pretty much what the first thing you do. Get up, get out of the habitation area. Sometimes you'll bump up and down. Now with elevators, make sure you don't bump into people. Sometimes it kind of glitches around. So you're looking around like, where the hell do I go from here? It's pretty linear for the most part. And when you get to options, different areas, yeah, don't know what the artifacts are happening there. That's fine. Pretty beautiful city though. Yeah, light show for you guys. But as you run through, read the signs, right? I think that's kind of the easiest thing. Is you can kind of run around, you find a dead end. Okay, it's usually going to be the bigger open area. So hold F, you can scroll wheel in, you can kind of see. Okay, it looks like there's meds there, some repair stuff, some drinks, some bars, and here Metro Center, right? We want to get out. Usually you are trying to get out to a spaceport. right? That's kind of your main goal. So if we go here again, a lot of people don't realize, they just run around like, I'm lost, but they don't take a chance to look. You are here. You came from these residences. Tammany and Sons is a place to buy different things. Your goal is to get to the Metro Center because we're trying to get to TISA Spaceport, right? So go in here, look at the signs. It's perimeter line, spaceport line. Go to the right. All right, cool. And now I have two options. Perimeter line and spaceport. Again, we're trying to get the spaceport to get up and out of the planet. You'll probably lag a lot going into this. Remember, your first time playing, it'll lag. You might even crash a few times. That's okay. That's because you're literally loading the entire planet. As you see, I'm not lagging as much. I've been here a few times. Yay, trainer every 8 seconds. Sometimes it'll be open, the train's here, and literally right when you get here is when the door closes. That happens. So you jump on here. You can kind of also see on the wall here, there's kind of a map there that shows, you know, the spaceport line. TISA Spaceport goes to Metro Center. You'll see something called Commercial Line that leads to CBD, Commercial Business District. Commercial Business District is the oldest place in the system, or the area, the settlement. So you'll find a lot of the shops there.
Next stop, Metro Center.
We'll talk about other things you can buy. Certain things you buy in the game are only at certain locations. We'll see here, there's a place called New Deal here. That's where you can buy literally any ship in the game pretty much that you've bought. So people have spent thousands of dollars on, like, for example, spent $1,000 on an 890 jump, which is considered like the yacht. You could buy that in game, providing you have enough money on you. So pretty beautiful. Sometimes at nighttime you'll see that too. Disregard the artifacts.
Now arriving.
It's pretty neat.
Metro Center. Please watch your step when disembarking the train.
I'm glad I'm making this video. Whenever I show people what to do and talk to them about how beautiful it is outside, it's always the nighttime. Alright, look, exit. Easy peasy, right? Exit, exit. They kind of make it easy, but at first it's pretty overwhelming. By the way, perfect time. Chat on the left hand side, F12, will hide your chat. So there is Central Business District. That's where if we want to go and buy some stuff, we can. You can kind of see here. Our goal is to get to the TISA Spaceport. So customs, whenever you get to an area you're trying to get to the spaceport, look for the customs area or a bunch of security guards guarding these little terminals. Think of it like a airport security, right? So looking around, it's pretty linear. You can only really go one direction. Everywhere else kind of locks you in. You can pay citation and fines there. All right, entering terminal. There you go. All right. So this place, there's a New Deal, as I mentioned, that you can go in and buy new ships. Buy different things here, there. This is a vehicle retrieval console. Hold F and pull your ship up. So for now, I'm going to pull up my Sentinel. Give it a second. Now, I have not found a way to easily exit out of this. Hangar 9, keep in mind, but as you see, it actually does show where my ship is. So you have to back up to exit it. It's kind of weird. But if you ever forget what hangar you're at, obviously my ship is somewhere down there. So let's find some elevators again to get out of here. So look, signs elevators. I can go straight or left. I'm going to go left. You kind of start to know some of these places. They're all pretty much the same. You find elevators to get to different places. Hangar 9. So scroll down. Be careful here because you might actually press pad 9 or something and it takes you a whole different area. Cool part about this, and yes, people laugh because they say, oh, the elevator doesn't go just kind of up and down. It doesn't. It actually travels to where the hangars would be. So they're kind of saying that there is an actual space line there. So whenever you land, look for the landing bay arrivals. That will always indicate to you the arrow left. That's where you would go to get you out of the area. So this is my ship. Two types of ship you'll see. Either you'll have a ramp access or elevator. Well, three types, I guess. Elevator, ramp. Wait till it says orange open door. Or you'll have a ladder on the side. So some of the light fighters, you'll have ladders. This particular ship is a little difficult to close shop. I'm holding F, left clicking. Some ships have turrets. So this ship has a turret on there. You can kind of enter the turret. When you're getting in and out of seats, you never want to really move or press any buttons. Be known to kind of glitch out. I'm sure they'll fix that in the future. So hold F, enter pilot seat. Sometimes this will say co-pilot seat, it'll say gunner, depending on how large the ship is. So again, I'm not pressing anything. Here I am. So a lot of things you can do right from your consoles. If you look around, I can power off, I can spool my quantum drive, engine off, engine on, open my exterior ramp, unlock my doors so other players can come in here and shoot me in the head. A lot of different things. Sometimes you'll find a eject button. If you look up on some of the fighters, it'll say, you know, EVA or exit the vehicle, so you can literally pop open your canopy and just EVA out there. What I'd like to do, well, let me turn everything off again with U and I. U is systems and engines, but you can press R, flight ready. Okay, I know there's a flight ready button somewhere here. Well, it's already on, so it's not there. Let's talk about the UI here. So this is your capacitors, some weapons, shield and engines there. You can change these by, you can middle mouse to kind of focus there, but menu, you can change it to target status, which is what you're targeting. You can look at your weapons, you can look at your shields, power, you know, whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to do comms, and I'm going to hail Lorville, which is basically telling them to open the door for me. You can also press F11. I usually use F11 to go to friends. It's just easier for me. Keep in mind though that if you're still flying, you might hit something. So F1 to exit, F4 to go to third person, and you can hold Z and kind of look around, and you can kind of see like, oh, okay, cool, they're opening the bay doors for me. So let go of Z, hold Z, let go of Z, you know, F4. Now I'm flight ready, so spacebar. What goes up? Control goes down. Okay. Some of you guys played Arma, other things. That's pretty easy. Now, wherever I point this nose, that's kind of where I go, right? So pretty neat. I'm gonna start to fly up a little bit. Now, scroll up, scroll down. Notice on my left-hand side, you're going to see this kind of space, I guess, or throttle limiter. I can press C, and a little arrow shows up here. If you notice, that means that's like my cruise control. So I'm going to continue going up. My speedometer there is on the left. You see that I'm entering that red area on my throttle. Typically, if you're fighting, you want to stay below that red, what they call ACM. I don't know what the exact acronym is, but it's like combat maneuvering or something. So, yep, landing gear is down. N to raise your landing gear. And you'll also see, yes, I have a fatty shotgun in front of my ship. Disregard it. On the left-hand side, bottom left, you'll see gear, coupled, and ESP. Coupled is basically, oh, my gear is up. If I can toggle that off and on, if I wanted to. You hear the wind a lot. That means you are in atmosphere. It does fly a little bit differently. But coupled basically means if I'm holding W and I'm flying one direction, and let go of W, my thrusters fire to try to keep me in like almost like a VTOL, like a hover mode. And if couple is decoupled, then you continue flying one direction, right? Leaving restricted area. Thank you. So, what do you do when you get out of atmosphere? You want to first get into, and I'll jump on the star map here. Let me turn this off. Cruise control. Hold X to space brake a little bit. Actually, let me just cruise control out of atmosphere into space. I'll show you guys a few things. So F2 brings up your star map. Now this is probably the most frustrating thing because people are like, there's nothing on my star map. This is broken. It's not. It is and it isn't. They're going to be fixing that anyways. But right click, double right click. That'll zoom you out. Now we are in Hurston here. Typically you can double left click on the major planets. There's Hurston and Crusader. Around this system, Hurston's the main planet. These are different, I guess, planets, moons, whatever you want to call it. I don't know exactly what they are. Scroll wheel in, notice there, Lorville is the major planet. Every time you see a planet, you'll have a kind of the major city. And there's Evers Harbor. Evers Harbor, I'm right clicking to move, left click to rotate. Evers Harbor is the space station. So every major planet typically has a space station. I've left clicked in there, set route, F1 exit. Now notice here, it takes one jump point. If it's far, it'll tell you like 3, 4, 5 jump points. This is the time it'll take to travel there as well, I believe in seconds. So what I do is look at my star map. There's a green line now that showed up on the bottom here, and it kind of points you to where you need to aim. Now we call it a square, a rounded square, or a squircle. That's always the space station. So hold B or press B. That'll spool your quantum drive, and you can travel there. But before I do that, I want to spool my quantum and just show you guys down here. Typically, when you aim at a planet, you'll see kind of a baseball diamond that where Lorville is. That's how you kind of quantum to Lorville. So, getting back to Evers Harbor, where I've set my waypoint, it'll spool. Now, I recommend taking a look at a couple of different websites we pinned in some of our loadout channels, like Urkel Games. You can look that up, or DPS Calculators is known as, and you can probably get better loadouts, better quantum drives, travel a little faster and more efficiently. I held B to quantum travel once you spooled. So that blue chevron you see, guys, is another player. I press T to target. Look at that, it's a Constellation Andromeda, pretty large ship. You can see it down here. That's what I've targeted. These little things on the side are shields. I also have shields too. Okay, so if you're fighting someone, that starts to turn red. If they're red, they're pirates. You want to avoid them or engage them depending on your skill level. Alt T will cancel, typically cancel your targeting. So what happens if I target him on the top of my screen right now? This radar lock would turn on for him, or it says you know, contact or target or something. That someone's targeted you. So I'm gonna just turn off my cruise control, get closer here. These are usually turrets, little white things. So this is a space station. You know, you can go to F4, take a look, see what you're doing here. It's pretty neat. Hey, look, the sun's hitting it. It's nice. So when you get close enough, definitely slow down a little bit. Yeah, someone else is taking off there. I can change this. Now it says please contact ATC to land. So what you can do now is, again, F11, or you can choose comms. But once it says choose contact ATC, comms, F11, hail Everest Harbor. Wait for it to say you're cleared. Here's a landing pad. It's glitching. Now, perfect time to talk about server 30K, which is basically the server crashes. You get an error code called 30,000. That's why it's also known as 30K. So, didn't work. That's alright. Sometimes you have a player 30K. Again, server meshing should hopefully fix that. That's good.
Please proceed to sign
F1 exit. It said I have landing bay. That little circle chevron, I can hold F, zoom, scroll wheel in. That's where I'm going. You can also hold Alt and zoom in, and that kind of leave and let go of Alt. That permanently zooms you, but I don't like that. Maybe if I'm trying to see something, I can do that. I can also change these if I wanted to go to target. You know, as I mentioned, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't. Shift is my afterburner. In the next patch, it's very limited in capacity, so you know, I would use that sparingly. It'll have to recharge for you guys. Now, I'm about to land. Oh, landing gear, right? And control to descend. Press X. Space brake. Space brake does, again, in the next patch is not as good. You have to fire some thrusters as well, but you know, so you can angle it if you wanted to land in third person. You can, if you wanted to make sure your landing gear is down, that kind of stuff. Now, if you notice this little blue square that I'm supposed to land at, and there's kind of like a hologram on the outside of it. So as you go into that area, if you want to auto land, it'll always say collision alert, because it's just, you know, it says, hey, you're about to hit something. Once you're in this area, you can hold N down, and it might take a little bit of time if you won't catch like that. Nope, auto land is, that's auto land. So I'd let go of N, it's auto landing for me. And I am it's just kind of going back and forth. That's fine. F1, while this is busy taking its time swinging back and forth, you can go to vehicle maintenance services, the wrench, repair, restock if you fired some missiles and guns, refill your hydrogen and your quantum. And what you'll see here on my screen when I press confirm, right here is my quantum. So I've used 69 fuel. It's going to go up. My hydrogen, I believe this is. That's my that's all my thrusters, right? WASD as I'm flying around and not quantum traveling. My arrow right here, this is my size 1 missiles. I have 32 of them on the ship. We'll talk about those loadouts later on. I also have, bottom left, you'll see if there was any repairs done. This will blink red, which will indicate if I'm missing a wing or something. All of a sudden you'll see the wing show up. Kind of cool to see it third person if you're completely thrashed and all of a sudden it shows back up. Here I have decoy. Think of that as chaff. Noise is like if someone has a lock on you, you can fire that off. H is decoy. J is your noise. So, all right, hold Y. Let's get out of the seat. Don't forget, don't press anything. Sure, you can turn off the engine. You can do all that stuff if you wanted to for immersion purposes, but I'm going to store this anyways and show you guys a few things, so I'm not all too worried about it right now. So again, trying to find an exit. Some ports just got to really find. I'm in pad 3. You'll get used to it, right? Running out there, kind of see your ship. Run into a wall, perfect. Space stations are almost all the same, I would say for now. There's some that are really neat on the planets eventually, but you'll probably still get lost. Port All Stars is pretty easy because it's just one gigantic square, really. But there's multiple struts. You'll be like A strut, here's a square, B strut, here's a square. You might have to EVA or jump out and float around a little bit. I can show you guys that here in a little bit too. But I'm going away to the main lobby of Everest Harbor. By the way, once you call in and I hail the landing, now if I was to die or crash and burn, whatever, if I want to suicide by holding backspace and kill myself, I'll spawn here. So sometimes that's even faster. But the thing is, typically you don't want to just suicide and go right to the habs and be like, okay, cool, I'm there. You almost always want to store your ship, otherwise you'll get impounded, you have to pay a fee. I mean, yeah, it's a nominal fee, but that's okay. Yep, stuttering a little bit. Again, kind of loading in here. It's alright. Alright. Store my ship. So best practice, store your ship if you want to. I had claimed an arrow earlier, it's now in a different area, I can claim that. Claiming basically means if you notice it's stored in Lorville, but I'm like, hey, I'm here, I kind of want to have a new ship, so they'll kind of bring your standard, they'll bring your ship here essentially. That's where insurances come to play later on. You can expedite if you want, but not necessary for this point. So most of these space stations, typically you'll have to you'll go to an area that has elevators to kind of go to gallerias, places you can shop. So if I go in here, I'll show you guys. You can buy different things. Take some time. Sometimes for fun, I'll like race to see which one. So yeah, go in here. There's Galleria, Cargo Center. The habs, that's where you spawn when you die. So you come out this way. Again, pretty linear. Just find your way to the spaceport. So let's talk about a couple of different ways to make money. There's mining, there's trade runs, pretty much just like space trucker, if you will. F1, pull up your contract manager. You do have sometimes personal missions to do that you can do. Generals, where you're going to find a lot of the missions. You'll get more as you're on space stations. So typically if you're in Everest Harbor or Port Olisar on Crusader planet area, you'll get a lot more. So you can deliver stuff, search, investigate things. To start off, I would probably recommend going to Call to Arms, Mercenary, except that what this does is you're going to be doing bounties. That's kind of one of the quicker ways to make money right now. As you do a bounty, that Call to Arms is basically extra money for you. If you're going to accept it, you kind of see, as I kill different people that have bounties, I'll get more money, basically. So, you know, depends, just extra money. So I'm going to do a bounty. There's very low risk targets, high risk targets, very high risk targets. This is more of like a cave mission. Medium risk targets, you can kind of see. Moderate risk targets. It does say the small multi-crew, right? Sometimes. Eventually you work your way up to what they call ERTs. Notice, you know, you get bonuses plus extra money. This is called a group ERT. One thing to take note, it does level you up on a specific faction, if you will. Right now this is Hurston versus North Rock. This is not a group one, but it is a little quicker, but you end up finding a hammerhead either way. It's kind of fun. So I like that. But I'll show you guys, if I accept this offer here, I'm going to go to my Delphi. This is kind of like, as you do different missions, if I click down here in a skill, you'll kind of see. I'm almost at a 5, almost at 6. So every time when you first do this, you'll probably have something called a certification to do. You'll have suspect apprehension, which is fighting another player. I wouldn't recommend doing that quite yet. Just do like the tracker training certification. After you get certified, you have to do an evaluation. So it's almost like a 2-part before you level up each level. So after I finish my 5 and go to 6, I'll have that as well. And obviously the higher level you get, the higher payout. Do keep in mind though, some of these are timed, like the group ERT. This one is timed. Sometimes it'll tell you that too. So in this case, I've accepted this mission for the ERT. I'm going to track it. If you have a group, you can share it. So if I'm in a comm link and let's say I invite some friends over by right-clicking, invite them to a party, you'll get stuff in the top of your screen that says like, hey, right up here it says, hey, left bracket to accept party invite or something like that. So let's call my ship. I'll show you guys a few things in fighting. So let's call my Sentinel again. Pretty long first video, and I know it's a lot of wasted time, but all together not too bad. Trying to think if there's anything else I tell people when I start. There is one major thing. Sometimes you will be mashing buttons, or sometimes the server just decides to spawn you without a helmet. That's okay. I usually will check that before I go out, otherwise your character will start to die. Another thing is you want to try to find on these spaceports, find a place that you can buy med pens. If you happen to start jump off of something or stub your toe, you'll get hurt. There'll be a little icon on the bottom left here telling you that your health's gone down. So I'll show you guys when we get there. Oops, sorry. Hangar pad 3. See, I already forgot. If it closes on you, you can open lobby. If your friend's still there, go to the lobby, it'll open the door again. I typically, yeah, I got a little time. F1, you can go in the equipment manager here and just make sure that under armor you do have a helmet. You know, stuff. Not, if you change it, make sure you see how that exclamation point shows up. Make sure you save changes and equip. Wait till the exclamation point disappears. I'd put on armor little bits at a time and save it just to make sure they save. A buddy of ours earlier was running around. He walked outside with me and he's like, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. He ended up dying. We was already landed, thankfully, so he spawned in at the habitation area. But yeah, he did not have his helmet. He thought he had it on. Doesn't really tell you to save changes, so make sure that's there. So usually when I go up here, I'll press F1. I'll notice my armor is there, so I usually know I have a my helmet on. But always good to check just to make sure you have it on. Notice on my MISC, you'll probably have one consumable med and one consumable oxy pen, depending on your suit. You do want to click into it, click med pen, save changes and equip, and then it will disappear. And when it disappears, that means that you're good. There you go. Okay. To use it, think C for cure. So holding C, you can kind of do a little mouse wheel, choose oxypen, but you can also just press C and it'll come up. Left click to use it. You can also hold F and stow it. So I'm just going to stow it away. If you were to bring out a gun or something too, I believe holding R will also stow things. So yeah, there you go. Nice. So if you run out here and your guy starts to gasp, immediately run back in where it's safe in there. There's a little barrier you guys might have seen. That way you can at least heal yourself up, you won't die. But again, rest assured, if you die, you're back at the habitation area, not too bad. So, closing my door, opening this door. Some ships, again, have different loadouts. That's the engineering station. A lot of cool things. I wouldn't recommend getting in and out of the bed right now. It's kind of glitched. So if you do have a bed on your ship, don't get in it. Alright, everything's turned on already, flight ready. Now, this won't come to play so much in 3.14 because you use capacitors, but 3.13 I'm just going to overclock, turn on some things. Let me just kind of go there. If these are turned off, these are usually your turrets, right? So if you have turret gunners, they can go in there in this, what they call MFD, and they can turn on and overclock their things. For now, I'm just going to overclock my stuff. But again, this won't really play a big part later on. So you can kind of see there's a little square behind this that says wanted. That's where I'm going to. But for purposes of tracking, double right click, rotate myself around a little bit. I'm here in Hurston. There's my target. Double left click again. I can kind of hover over him, set route, scroll out. It is finicky, like I said, they're working on it. Nope, there it is, target location, set route. So I have two jump points, aerial, then my target's location, 11.73. I believe it's like 60 is like 1 minute. Something like that. So press B once. Now, I forgot to put my landing gear up, right? Probably a big problem quantum traveling. That's okay. When you quantum travel, your ship is smart enough to know that it'll put away my landing gear. So F4, kind of see yourself. Print screen is a good screenshot button. I notice sometimes Alt F1 for your shadow players is kind of a hard problem to do, to use. I'm going to quantum travel here to my bounty. So some ships, left click will fire guns and right click will do different guns too. In this particular ship, my right click is an EMP, so I'm not going to use my right click. I'll just do, I actually have two bound I have a scatter gun, that big nose gun you guys saw in the front. If I left click, it fires both my cannon, and I like doing this, it's pretty beautiful. Fires my cannons and my scatter gun at the same time, so it's pretty balanced on my left click. But sometimes if you have like the arrow, you have like a Gatling gun above your head, so you can hold right click for that. I'm gonna fly decoupled. I'm pressing V for Victor. In the next patch, that's gonna change, so don't worry about that. But typically, someone told me that if you're kind of a good pilot, decoupled is the better one to do. So I'm flying a little slow. As you get in there, you kind of see a change where my contact is at. You can press Tab as well. This is kind of a scan mode. Also used for mining, but hold right click, release it. It'll kind of do a little pulse out there, and sometimes it'll tag stuff. So it's a good way to scan and see different ships. If you see a different ship, you can actually use the scan mode to see what the player that's in there. So notice I'm below my ACM. I kind of want to fight with this bottom limit. Contact. So red radar lock, they've locked on me. I'm just going to go up 3 quarters, that's fine. So once you have a contact, press T to target. I like to change this a little bit higher, if it'll let me right now. Oops. Scroll up. Target status. Sometimes it's broken, and that's okay. But notice I have a hammerhead that I'm fighting. That's a big ship. Has turret gunners and everything. So it's gonna be a little interesting, but it will show you a few mechanics. Again, you're flying into asteroids, so you smack into one, you'll probably die. So this is a big ship. No escorts though, thankfully. I don't have to fight anything off except for this gigantic hammerhead. In the next patch, this is gonna become a kind of pain in the butt. It has a lot of armor. This patch is not too bad, especially 2 types of weapons that I have, or that you normally have. You have ballistic, which does damage to the hull, and then you have lasers, which obviously will... Oh, it has an escort, great. Let me kill the escort first. This one is a hurricane. Alright, so target of the hurricane. I'm gonna fight the hurricane first. I'm gonna kind of move around because this thing Q&E rolls. Kind of move around a little bit because this hammerhead does have turret gunners. Turret gunners suck. That little chevron there, that turret turn green, that's called a pip. So you kind of want to aim at that.
Shields under fire.
Kind of keep moving because that thing sucks. If you look bottom right, I have an arrow. This is 750. So those are my missiles. I have to be within that certain range to fire missiles. I'll talk about the missiles here in a little bit. For now, let me just fight this guy. Just turn on, get the pip in there. Spacebar, control, whatever you need to kind of move yourself.
Danger. Weapon systems overheating.
He's dead. Okay. Cycle my next target. There's my hammerhead. Okay, so missile is pretty much middle mouse. And that's lock 1, lock 2, lock 3, lock 4. If I hold missile now, it'll fire them off. Hold my middle mouse. So notice it pounded the shields, but this thing's a beast, right? Kind of messes the shields. Notice it fires some chaff out. And I'm in decoupled mode, and I'm basically just holding W, so I'm basically doing circles. Oh, I'll shift a little bit. These guys are smacking me up a little bit. Missile, fire my chaff. Alright, let me get a little closer here. Best thing to do with hammerheads is kind of just do a circle straight. Stay away from the turrets. So I like doing ballistic damage on this guys. A little closer. Wow, I am sucking right now, but that's alright. Aim at the pip.
Danger. Engines overheating. Danger. Engines overheating. Danger.
There we go. Left click spam. You're probably hearing my background noise right now, but that's okay. Not the best way to hit the hammerhead, right? Just do circles around it. Different ships. You're fighting a light fighter. Obviously, it's hard to stay stationary. Boom. Easy 30k right there. Now, do I have another? I have another ship here. Oh, it's another hurricane that's been shooting at me. All right.
Weapon systems overheating. Shields up.
in mind, be careful, you are in the asteroid field, right? So again, hitting asteroids here would suck. Woo! Award to 500k for killing that. Yeah, you get ads. This stuff does kind of float here. Eventually, you're going to be able to go on a salvage mission, and if there's anything left, you can take that stuff and basically disappear. A little rattling on my ship, a little torquing balance. Probably should get back to base, right? Heal up a little bit. Double right click. Now, again, Hurston as a major planet. I want to get over to Everest Harbor. There it is, space station. Travel there and repair. Now, sometimes your electronics get messed up. So notice this is missile worn. So I did have a missile. If you guys replay, you'll see that the missile that was fired on me, there's kind of a little clock that shows down that's close to impact. You can typically fire multiple chaffs if you want to. I ended up firing a chaff and a noise to break the lock, but that's alright. All not too bad. It's easy money right there. Of course, I'm in the sun. A little hard to see. So, whoa, little glitch there. Another thing to think about is if you are playing with a group. So if I'm flying my Hammerhead and a bunch of friends are in a turret or something, sometimes what will happen is as you quantum, they kind of stay there, or you're flying around, they stay in this, where I'm at right now, just kind of hovering. Spool your quantum drive, just press B again, and that will typically resync them instead of desync them. So couple mode with N, putting my gear down with, I'm sorry, landing gear with N, V with coupling back again. This is also your G-force, I think it is. But yeah, if you looked earlier, replay them, there's like a minimum maximum area here that shows my whatever missile I have. You also have big torpedoes, size 5. Now keep in mind the bigger ones are great, but they take longer to lock. People can fire chaffs, people can do basic maneuvers, but there are ships that have a stealth, right? So you don't even know they're firing when all of a sudden they're targeted, locked on, and firing a big torpedo at you. So harder to get away from, but overall pretty decent. Contact command, F11, go to friends, Everest Harbor.
Please proceed to assigned landing.
Alright, where's my landing bay, boys? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Just having a little fun, right? Bad torque balance. So some stuff got shot up for me. The cool thing is, as things get destroyed on your ship, it'll mess you up a little bit. You have little imbalances and alright, there you go. So you can hold N if you want to again land properly. And it caught me. Cool. So let's see damage. Repair. Not too bad. I've seen worse. But that's going to repair, refuel, do everything. Notice my quantum. Little beep beep letting me know I'm done. It's auto landing for me, so it's kind of nice. But that's a GG. Made some money. And got some points on my Delphi for leveling up. It's rinse repeat pretty much. So that's one of the things you could do. Keep in mind, like for example, the Hurston and Northrop are kind of rivals. As you click on it, see rivals. So as you do different things, you'll get different missions. Allies is Hurston security. You know, Northrop is Eckert security. There's different missions. There's a guy named Eckert that gives you kind of a mission later on that you can fight an Idris, which fires a railgun at you. It's broken right now, this patch, but can't wait for 3.14 to come out so I can actually fight that Idris and see how I do against it. I don't know how I'll be able to do against a railgun, but it should be fun. But that's it. That was a nice quick Star Citizen tutorial with just some pointers that I've learned. I'm just going to go quickly on my F1 menu, see if I missed anything. There's a lot more that I'll probably talk about. MFD, the different screens you have. So let's see, Vehicle Loadout Manager. If you buy different parts for your ship, give it a second to select your ship. But you can select your ship. This is locked because it's still out right now. But if you pull up different ships, you can actually change different things that are all here. Your equipment manager, that's how you again equip your suits, your weaponry. Make sure if you buy a weapon that you do equip some of the magazines, spare magazines. Skyline, this is another way to your map. Ammo trader, so if you want to send some money, I only have 3.5. That's one way to do it. It's your contract manager. Let's see, journal, history, your stuff you've done. It's fine. So, cool. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna store my ship. That way I don't get impounded. I mean, if you do, it's only 500 AEUC anyways, so not all too bad. But it's kind of basic for keybinds, I think. Spacebar, control, F4. You can lay down and rest and relax. All right, sounds good.